Hey, what's up everyone, welcome to the video. I'm going to be doing an Ira Commoner deck tag because I will be running this deck in some Commoner events in the near future. I absolutely love Ira. This was my main deck in Blitz for the longest time. The majority of the XP that I've earned over the years has been with Ira and Blitz, so now that the hero is living legend, it feels a little bit bittersweet. However, we can still play it in the Commoner format, so that's something at least. I was going to be releasing a new deck tag today, and I want to do a Zen deck tag sometime later this week. However, there are a couple of cards that I'm still thinking about that I want to switch in or switch out, so I'm going to delay that a little bit until I figure out what are the correct ratios for that. But my new deck tag is absolutely gonna be amazing. I currently have an 80% win rate with that deck, so I do think that's gonna be a top tier contender. I'm even considering that for the upcoming nationals that maybe I don't go with Ninja and I'll bring New instead, because it just has so many good matchups. There are some bad matchups, but for the most part it's just all around amazing deck. If you want early access to that deck, I do have it available on my Patreon already, so do check that out if you are a patron. But in the meantime, let's cover Ira quickly, and especially for you new players out there, so you can get started with Flesh and Blood. And if you follow some very simple rules, you're going to be competing at a relatively high level very quickly. So what this deck wants to do is it wants to take advantage of Ira's hero ability that says your second attack each turn gains +1 power. So the longer you can stall the game by blocking out and getting a second attack in with Ira's ability, the more value you're going to be getting out of that hero ability. And what you want to be doing is you want to be attacking it with a Kodachi for 1 as your first attack, and then following that up with something like a cut down to size, which will get +1, become a 7 attack, which means at this point you are basically pitching a blue and attacking with 1 card to present 8 damage in total, so 7 from this and 1 from the Kodachi, which means you're presenting 4 value per card, which is just a sweet spot where you want to be in Flesh and Blood in general. You have something like the Stony Wutenhagen here, which if the opponent doesn't defend properly, it gets +1 power on top of that, which means that if you go on with the Kodachi and you follow that up with a Stony Wutenhag, you're now presenting an 8 damage attack, plus the Kodachi is 9 damage, that's 4.5 damage per card that you kept in hand. So the team of the deck is rather simple, as you might guess. You want to block with 2 cards, which is usually some of your 3 blocks, and then you want to keep 2 cards to attack in with. There are exceptions, like if you have a leg deck, for example, you usually want to block with 1 card and then maybe follow that up with a cut down to size, so that you have that very nice 7+4 damage potential there. But other than that, you don't want to be blocking with the 2 blocks unless you really have to. You want to be utilizing all these amazing 3 block cards, especially in the blue slots, to kind of get rid of the cards that don't have any aggro potential and being able to mitigate the damage coming in. We have the Fateful Scenes in the Sink Below to help fix your hands or your future hands. It's kind of sad that we don't have Flick Flags in Commoner, but I do think if we have Flick Flags, then Ira would probably be the best deck in the format going forward, because Flick Flags are absolutely busted in the Blitz format already, so let alone in Commoner. So maybe it's a good thing that those don't exist in this format, but there is a lot of very nice synergies here, like the Push the Point can push to a very nice damage potential, hold a resource floating, and you can throw something like a Razor Reflex on that. Don't go wasting your Razor Reflexes on push the points too fast though. What you can also do is you can save your Razor Reflex in your arsenal and then wait for the right moment where you're playing a Whirling Mist Blossom on the second chain link. Since it's already pushed to 3, if the opponent doesn't block this properly or doesn't double block this, you can throw a Razor Reflex, netting you a 2 card draw, which is just absolutely amazing, and then you can just keep comboing off with stuff like your Flying Kicks, your Scarf for Scars, etc, etc. Sometimes it is beneficial to go to a lower life total to make sure that your Scarf for Scars are active. However, your goal in the game is to try and keep your life total above 12-ish, and you want to whittle them down to the 3 to 2 life range, so that once you start attacking them with the Kodachis, that every Kodachi at some point is going to be presenting a lethal choke point, which means that every time you pitch a blue attack with 2 Kodachis, they need to waste at least 2 cards from the hand in order to stop the damage from these coming in. And then if you attack in with something like a leg deck for 4 damage, then they need to waste another 2 cards in the hand, rolling the turn back to you. You're only losing 1 card, they are losing 4 cards. Eventually they're going to be fatiguing out and you will be winning the game that way. We have Blossom of Spring. This one is an action. I used to run a different card. For now, I'm going back to the Blossom of Spring. It gives me a more consistent plan against the fatigue decks where I can still go for a flying kick at the end of the combat chain without having to worry that they're just blocking everything out. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say today. The combo cards and the blue slots, I had some new players asking me about that every once in a while. They don't really combo with anything other than the Rising Nitros with leg tap. The only reason that we have these combo cards in there is, first of all, they have a 3 block in the lower right corner, and they also have a 0 cost in the upper right corner. And by having a 0 cost, that means that the Kodachis, when you pitch a blue like that, have go again, because these do require you to have a 0 cost card in the pitch zone in order to have go again. It's the only reason I'm running these. You just use them to block and to pitch, and that's it. We have a Zephyr Needle in the sideboard as well here. The Zephyr Needle can be quite fun against Kano specifically, or decks that you don't expect to be running any defense reactions because of Iris ability. If you attack with this on your second chain link, unless they block with a defense reaction that has 4 or higher defense value, then your Zephyr Needle is never going to be breaking, and you basically have a extra point of damage for the remainder of the game by having this one equipped, so that's quite cool. We do have the Oasis Respites in here. Maybe I need to take them out, maybe I don't. I do want to at least be ready for a wizard matchup, even though that they are quite rare in the commoner format. But having them in here together with some Arcane Barrier does help our wizard matchup a bit. Maybe I will take these out, then the Zephyr Needle can probably go to. Just have a look at your local metagame. If you notice that there aren't any wizards around, you can probably just get rid of everything you see right there. Maybe just keep the Zephyr Needle for the Dash matchup, because Dash generally doesn't run defense reactions. And then you can put some other stuff in here, like the Bastions that recently got released. They block 2 and then they prevent the next one damaged, kind of nice as well. So yeah, I think that's all for me for today. If you enjoy Commoner and you enjoy this deck tag, please let me know down in the comment section. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you all very, very soon with another Flesh and Blood video. Take care.